When most people think of the Book of Revelation, they picture a terrifying, chaotic fever dream. It's famous for its violent imagery, multi-headed dragons, lakes of fire, and global destruction. These images actually served a grounded purpose for the early Christian church around the year 90 AD, a community facing heavy, systematic persecution. The Roman Emperor Domitian was demanding that his subjects worship him as a living deity. Anyone who refused faced severe punishment, exile, or execution. The original leadership of the church was nearly gone. Only one of the 12 apostles, John, was left, and he had been exiled to Patmos to wait out his days on a barren, rocky island. This creates a strange paradox. A dying, terrified group of believers needed comfort and encouragement, yet they received a vision filled with horrific, violent monsters. Modern confusion with this text stems from our attempt to read it as linear, Western prose, reading straight from page 1 to the end. John actually engineered the text using an ancient, highly structured form of Hebrew poetry, known as a chiasm. A chiasm works with the logic of a mirror, following a symmetrical ABC, B', A' pattern. The top and bottom elements mirror each other and fold inward, directing the reader's attention toward a singular core message in the middle. Identifying this symmetrical arrangement transforms the text from a chaotic sequence into a deliberate, organized message. To navigate this structure, we have to recognize that the apocalyptic creatures aren't literal monsters. They are composite symbols drawn from Old Testament texts, like the Book of Daniel. This diagram shows the complete organization of Revelation. The entire first half functions as a historical timeline, mapping the spiritual trials of the early church. It begins with the vision of the 7 churches, portraying Christ counseling a scattered people currently at war. The pattern then steps inward to the 7 seals, showing God actively shielding his afflicted people as conditions worsen. One step closer to the center, we reach the 7 trumpets, severe judgments sent to warn the world and call people away from spiritual decline. This historical half of the book provides a highly ordered reflection of the immediate trials happening outside John's prison cell. The structure then pivots to the eschatological half, where the text leaves John's current history behind to focus on end-time events. Because of the chiasm, these future judgments serve as a mathematical mirror to the historical trials. The fall of Babylon and the 7 last plagues align with the earlier visions of warning. This symmetry even applies to the final reward. The visions of the millennium and the New Jerusalem balance the opening letters to the 7 churches, creating matching bookends for the entire book. As both sides fold inward, we arrive at the exact center of the chiasm, chapter 14. This is the destination the entire narrative reaches. This is the Great Controversy section. At this center point, the chaotic imagery falls away to reveal the core cosmic struggle between good and evil. At this core, the terrifying disasters on the outer edges give way to a central question of human allegiance. Following the structure's symmetry back out to its conclusion brings us to the promise of a new earth, a place where sorrow, pain, and death do not exist. This final image stood in sharp contrast to John's physical isolation on the rocky shores of Patmos. The text states its own purpose by echoing the Gospel of John. Now I tell you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe. The vision is meant to strengthen faith as events unfold, rather than serving as a tool for predicting specific dates. By framing history through this structure, the conflict and suffering of the middle sections are presented as a temporary phase of a much larger story. The symmetry of the book suggests that even the most chaotic periods of history are contained within an intentional narrative that concludes with the restoration of the world.